Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ango, youtube.com/AngoYT, and today we're going to take a look at 5 major changes that need to happen to the pro wrestling world in 2019. Now, with that said, this is my personal opinion, so if you guys disagree or agree, just let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And as always, please feel free to share this video and click that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, if it's not too much to ask for, go ahead and click that subscribe button to help a brother out. With that being said, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of this video. Okay, so one of the biggest things that we really need to discuss in this video is video games. I mean, as soon as I started YouTube, video games were a pretty essential part of my channel, and I'm starting to bring that back to this channel, and I feel like it's very important when you look at the pro wrestling world. A lot of people can argue that 2K has been going downhill in recent years. Now, I haven't played WWE 2K19. I feel like 2K18 was the foundation for great games to come. But, you know, not everybody agrees, and that's completely fine. But with that being said, I do think we need to see a competitive wrestling game. Now, some of you guys are probably thinking Fire Pro Wrestling World is that game, but unfortunately, I just don't see it that way. It's a great game. I think it's an awesome game, but I'm looking for a fun pro wrestling game in the style of WWE 2K, but obviously with different mechanics and everything like that. So here comes the new NJPW and ROH video game. So I actually designed this concept art here, and it's just a concept art. This is nothing serious. Pre-order bonus, Chris Jericho, etc., etc., etc. Guys, the idea here is that WWE 2K would have a serious competitor. We saw how good this worked out for EA Sports with NBA Live versus NBA 2K. And I really don't know if I want the WWE license being shared around different companies. So why not give it to the powerhouse in New Japan, combined with an awesome roster in ROH. Now, the idea of an ROH versus New Japan video game seems very solid, and if you have a company like Ubisoft or EA creating the game, I think we can get some pretty good results. Something that would definitely work, that would be worked on for a couple years. 2020, 2019, this is something that needs to happen, and I say go for it immediately. With the success of indie wrestling, you know that this would not only help WWE 2K bring more fire to their series because they're going to have a legitimate competitor, but it's also going to make WWE realize that if people are buying these video games, then people are watching more products and they have their eyes on more products than just theirs. So this is a huge win for the pro wrestling world, and I think if you're a fan and you play video games, this would be a wonderful concept. Number 2, something that is so important for Impact Wrestling. Guys, this has to happen in the pro wrestling world in 2019. There's no bullshit around this. Impact Wrestling needs to go live, and they need to take their shows on the road, which right now they're kind of doing house shows when they're doing the live Twitch. They're actually kind of doing that with other independent wrestling companies, which I think is a great strategy. But I want to see them in more areas, more places, and I want to see them go live. Their content has been really good. I know it could be quite expensive, and that's something that people have complained about before, but Impact Wrestling is starting to have a really, really good creative program, and with indie wrestling being so hot right now and the fact that they're not holding exclusive stars, it could actually be an advantage for them when going live, and honestly, like I said, they definitely have a lot of momentum right now. In 2019, I do expect Impact Wrestling to go live. It may not be every Wednesday or every Thursday or every Friday, you know what I mean? But I think what could happen here is Impact will do, you know, every 2 weeks or something. I could see them doing more live shows, and eventually they just need to go live in general. The reason why this is so important, live content always thrives, and I know you're probably thinking, well, Raw is 3 hours and it sucks. That is true. Impact is a 2-hour show with a very nice roster. I think with them going live with a bigger audience, I think that would definitely help improve the product. In fact, I do see Impact Wrestling going live, not because of the audience, but because their presentation has improved so drastically, where I think they can actually show that their product is really, really good. And I think with the live interaction behind it, stepping up your social media game, I think that element of surprises and taking away spoilers would definitely improve the product. This would definitely cement Impact Wrestling in the wrestling world by 2019. Number 3 is a New Japan Pro Wrestling television deal in the USA that is not Access TV. And the reason why this one is actually so incredibly important, and this is one of the biggest complaints people have about New Japan, is that it's not very easy to access. Now, obviously there's New Japan World, But New Japan World isn't as accessible as the WWE Network. And look, that's a whole conversation in its own. I can see people in the comment section saying, listen, if you really want to watch New Japan, go and watch New Japan. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is New Japan having a weekly television show in the United States that is also live. The reason why this needs to happen is because New Japan is booming right now in the United States thanks to ROH. And I think if we were to see New Japan have a TV deal in which they were doing a live television show once a week, similar to Raw and SmackDown, I think it would improve the product in terms of the United States viewership. Now, here's why this is important. I think New Japan is the only company out there right now that can really, really compete with WWE at their current level. That's not to say that Impact Wrestling can't do that, but they're just not as big as New Japan, and I think New Japan can seriously do some damage to WWE if they were to have a weekly television show. And of course, years later, that could lead to what we call a ratings war, which, similar to the Monday Night Wars, who knows? But the conversation about New Japan having a television deal in the USA has been talked about. There's been rumors about this, that New Japan might want a weekly show. I don't know if Access TV is exactly the network I would like, but hey, if it is, it is. But no matter what, NJPW has to be on the U.S. television screens, and I know a lot of people want that too. A lot of people want to be able to watch it on a weekly basis and really have storylines to kind of dive into and whatever. So whether or not you agree with that, I mean, let me know in the comment section. That's what the comment section is there for. The fourth thing that must happen in the pro wrestling world in 2019, WWE needs to buy a competitor. And here's why I say this, and there's a very specific reason. WWE needs to buy a competitor at a smaller level so that way they could figure out ways to make the WWE network bigger. And what I mean by that is WWE needs more content on the network. They are lacking. A lot of people are saying, hey, there's rumors of the price increase. There's rumors of WWE Network adding more content, but what content are we going to get? Yeah, a lot of us subscribe to the WWE Network for older content, but there's a lot of companies out there that we definitely want to watch, and it's not as easy to find because they don't have television deals. So if WWE were to put a weekly show of ICW or Progress or Evolve on the WWE Network, I think it gives us a chance to watch more great pro wrestling that people typically wouldn't be able to watch. Now, obviously, with that being said, if WWE were to make a big purchase like this and add them to the WWE Network, production value goes a lot higher, and I think if you allow WWE to refrain from the creative control that makes Progress and ICW so good, I think you can have some really good content. This would definitely be a game changer as long as WWE doesn't have that creative control. Having input, sure. Having the control, I'm not sure if I trust them just yet with that. And the last thing that absolutely, no matter what, it just has to happen in the pro wrestling world in 2019. Guys, this might shock you and may not, but I would say Impact Wrestling needs to work with New Japan and ROH. At this point, if you guys saw All In, you guys know that world champions have showed up from every company, AAA and New Japan, except Impact. So we saw ROH world champion, Impact world IWGP World Champion, and we had the AAA champion Rey Fenix. So Impact Wrestling did not take place in All In. We saw Brian Cage there and a few other superstars, but what really needs to happen is cross promotion between the three, ROH, Impact, and New Japan. I think that right there would absolutely need to happen because WWE is such a giant at this point. You just can't do it alone at this point. And I think if you have these three companies work together, I think All In was a perfect example of what happens when superstars from different continents come together to put on a wrestling show. At the end of the day, there is a difference between sports entertainment, but sports entertainment and pro wrestling are so big. And guys, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, ROH, they all have a really amazing roster. You guys, I don't know if you guys know, Don Callis he's the commentator on New Japan. He's the brainchild behind Impact Wrestling with Scott D'Amore. I mean, there is some serious potential there. And honestly, I think if you have this cross promotion, it definitely makes sense and it's healthy for the industry. And as an honorable mention, Chris Jericho needs to be in Impact Wrestling in 2019. So that's technically 6 things, but that's the honorable mention. If you have cross promotion between those 3 companies, Chris Jericho showing up in Impact Wrestling would definitely help. And I know a lot of people may not agree, but I do personally feel Chris Jericho saved pro wrestling with some of the great things that he's done with New Japan and the Ring of Honor roster. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think. 5 things that must happen in the pro wrestling world in 2019. I'm your boy Ango, youtube.com/AngoYT and twitter.com/Tango with Ango. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take care. Peace.